All right, hey folks, we're going to do some D&D game design here using the Magic the Gathering 5-color magic system. Give me a chance here to check my signal, make sure everything's coming through okay. I'm going to do some of the behind-the-scene posting here real fast, and then we'll get to work for a couple hours. Today we're going to focus specifically on converting the Warlock to the 5-color mana system. To the 5-color mana system. That is plenty loud. Thanks, boss. And there, we get that down. Good. Cool. I want to grab this link here and do some posting to my channels real fast that we're live. You don't get the link until you go live, which is why you see countdowns at the beginning of live streams, because you don't get the link until you actually go live. So you have to have a countdown to have the chance to do all the postings to announce that you're up and running. But I don't use a countdown screen, so I just tried to distract you with my words while I press a bunch of buttons. And if I'm doing my job right, you'll stick around. So let me do my spiel here real quick to introduce who I am, what we got going on here. My name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games. Hey, what's up? I've been a D&D enthusiast since 1987. I've been a Magic the Gathering enthusiast since 1994. I've been a freelance illustrator since 1999, and I've been creating content on the DMsGuild since 2018. The first book that I published was the Color Mana Spell Point Variant Rules, and it converts the 8 schools of Magic and the Vancian spell slot system into the 5-color Magic the Gathering system. I'm finished with my social media postings, so give me a second here. I'll switch up my screens so you guys can see what I'm looking at here. If you scroll down here into the more, you'll see the 5-color mana spell point variant rule bundle here. Here's a bunch of other books that I've created, and these all have free previews. So if you click open a book, you can look at the entire thing. Let me close up the gap there. There we go. So here's the color mana system, and today we're going to specifically work on Warlocks, but for educational purposes, we typically do this when we start a stream. You can look at the revised 5-color spell list. This is the 2014 spell list, and this here in this free pay what you want document, it's just the player's handbook. We're in the process of converting everything from 2014 into 2024 because I legitimately enjoy the mechanics of 2024 better than 2014, though there are gaps in their attempt to simplify things and add more pictures. They got rid of text that I think is kind of important, but it's not relevant to today's conversation specifically. The 5-color mana system for Magic the Gathering, if you're not familiar with it, MTG is basically the world's most popular card game. It's a collectible card game. It's built around you playing wizards that summon monsters and cast spells at your opponent, the other player. That's basically portraying like a wizard type character. And you pay for the spells that you cast at each other with mana. And all the spells generally fit into one or more colors. And you have to have mana available to spend to cast those spells. When you're out of mana, you're out of casting spells. When it's the beginning of your next turn, you basically get all your mana back. Kind of like in D&D, when you finish a long rest, you get all of your spells back. And then you do it all again. So the 5 colors is white, blue, black, red, green. Here's some of the basic ideas in the D&D world. Here's some of the basic like aspects of magic that each color kind of represents. It's like white magic has a lot to do with divinity, healing, light, protection, restraint, while blue is like air, illusion, suppression, water magic, black, control, entropy, fear, soul, darkness. Red is aggression, earth, emotion, energy, impulse, while green, animals, healing, plants, nature, spirits. This is just a sampling of some stuff that is generally represented by each color. There's tons of fringe cases and ways that colors blend over with each other, and I'm sure I've missed a lot of aspects. These are just generalizations of like when you see white, like when you see a white glow on something, it's probably going to have something to do with one of these sort of things. When you see black energy radiating off of something, it probably has something to do with something like this. But there's also damage types in D&D. So here's the 10 types of like BPS, bludgeoning, piercing, slashing. That's just physical damage. But here's all the magical or energy damage types in the game. There's 10 of them. And according to the cards from Magic the Gathering that deal damage to each other, or the description of the cards, this is roughly how these damage types translate into the MTG world. And of course, you can contest some of this stuff. Like lightning, for instance, is overwhelmingly red. There's a few cards in Magic the Gathering that have like blue energy or maybe some green wrapped up with lightning, but the vast majority is red. Same with fire. The vast majority of cards that deal with fire is red related in MTG. So red mana becomes fire for D&D. So necrotic is black. That makes obvious sense. Radiant is white. Obvious sense. Poison in MTG is black and green. That's creatures and evil shit. That's kind of how poison weighs out. Same thing with acid, natural phenomenon, and horrible creatures. That tends to fall into the black-green space. So most of this stuff just naturally makes sense with what the cards are and what D&D Magic does. And so if we combine damage with aspects, you get a matrix of each spell belonging to either white, blue, black, red, or green, at least one or more colors. So, like, for example, if we get down to actual spell casting, I like to use the example of Fireball. Fireball is a classic red D&D spell. It's a 3rd level spell, so you'd spend 3 mana. 1 point has to be green. 1 point has to be red. The other 2 points can be whatever you want. So when you have a mana pool, you're going to spend 3 points of your mana. If you're using, you can either use a soft sort of liquid descriptive system of magic, or you can use a more hard solid magic system. A solid magic system would be each point of mana that your character has is going to be devoted to one color. And when you're out of that color, you can't cast those spells anymore. So like Fireball can only be cast with red. If you don't have any red in your mana pool right now, you can't cast Fireball. In a soft magic system that's more narrative and less strict, then it could simply be that as long as you have 3 points of mana, you can cast Fireball, and you would describe it as being red. And if you want to be alignment focused with your character, if your character typically doesn't identify or align with red magic, then you don't have access to spells that require red magic to cast, even if you have 3 points of mana. And then you can get around that by researching spells during downtime to learn that spell in whatever color you want. So it gives you a reason inside of your game campaign to have downtime, or to hand out treasure that allows your characters to gain a spell in a color that they want. So if you're playing Rakdos Bard, for instance, Rakdos is typically only black and red mana. So you'd be able to throw a Fireball, but you wouldn't be able to cast Fly. So you would have to either find a magic item that would allow you to prepare Fly as a black or red spell, or you would spend time researching Fly to become a black or red spell. Alternatively, on the fly, when you're preparing spells, you could prepare Fly, knowing that you can't cast it with blue-green. As a Rakdos character, you couldn't cast it, but then you could prepare it again. So then you could change the color to whatever you want. So you're reducing the amount of spells that you're preparing so that the spells that you do prepare are complementing the mana colors that are native to your character. And these are all narrative decisions. You could just decide, I'm a Rakdos character, but I don't care about color identity. I don't care about color mana. I have a mana pool. I have 3 mana. I'm going to cast Fly. Even though I'm a Rakdos character, I'm going to cast Fly. I'm just going to narrate it as using black or red magical energy when I cast it. And that's like the softest, least mechanically impactful system. So you have basically those 3 gears of completely just disregarding it and just narrating it as you please. There's the soft system where you have to, where you identify with specific colors, And then if the spell aligns with the colors that you identify with, then you can cast them freely with whatever mana you have. And if you don't identify with that color, you have to find a way to get that specific spell to identify with your colors. And then the most strict magic system is not only does the color have to identify with the colors that your character is aligned with, but you actually have to have that color mana in your mana pool right now. So if I only have 5 mana left and it's all white mana, I can only cast white spells. Anytime with that strict magic system, anytime you take a rest, either short or long rest, you can change the color of any amount of mana that you want to another color. But if I'm like this Rakdos Bard, the only 2 colors I will identify with are black and red. So if I have that 5 mana left, I will split it between however much black and however much red I need. But if it's a soft magic system that isn't being strict like that, it doesn't matter. So mechanically, I build the game to be as strict as possible, knowing that if you aren't playing as strict of a game, that just becomes narrative, like this strict mechanic that says like you have to have this color mana to cast the spell or use this effect. If you're not using a strict magic system, then it's just as long as you have mana and you're identifying with this color, you can do those things. And the campaign setting decides how strict aligning with colors are. Like in Strixhaven and Ravnica, each character has only 2 colors. But in Theros, you could have any number of colors, but you are devoted to gods, and the gods are aligned to specific colors. So when your piety rises with a specific type of god through the deeds that you perform, those gods will gift you spells in the colors that they identify with. So if you do a bunch of blue-green type stuff, Naya type character stuff, is going, those gods, the gods that are aligned with blue and green are going to take more favor upon you, and you'll gain piety with them. And in exchange with that higher level piety, they can grant you the ability to shift the color of the spells to where they're at, thus further reinforcing your alignment with those gods' values. If you have a character that starts off like with Iro being white and red mana, but you do a whole bunch of Thalia stuff, Thalia being, I believe, blue, then you'll find that the spells that are being granted to you by Thalia, they're all blue. Maybe you'll just start bending your mana pool over to being blue so you can take advantage of all the spells that Thalia would be offering you. And so in that sense, the magic system can be soft, but the narrative of how you're interacting with the gods is guiding you to express your character and the colors that the god is granting you gifts through. So you have those different gears that you can pull and different ways you can shift how hard you want to move into a magic system that way, with like the heavy mechanics or the narrative mechanics, or it being just completely inconsequential. It's just spell points and I can cast any spell that I want and the color doesn't matter at all. So you have these different gears that you can pull, which are things that we haven't needed to express in the book before. We have these ideas, description, and then solid magic, but as we've explored further, we've seen that there's more nuances that can be attained with them, and we built these books when there was only Ravnica. Since the release of Strixhaven and Theros, these ideas of being able to research stuff in colleges or being gifted different colors by the gods that you're aligning with, that it allows us to have a broader conversation about color identity, your character's alignments, and the resources that are available to them. So it's really fun that way. So hey, how you doing, man? It's good to see you. I'm doing really well. I have today off. So I actually have something I need to do in about 2 hours. So I've got a 2-hour window today, so we get to play for a little bit. But this is the basic system. I've been describing basically how the color mana system works in general. And of course, this is all inside the revised 5 color mana spell list, which is a pay what you want. Nearly 500 people have actually purchased this thing, so I feel very actually it's more like around 200 have purchased this thing so far. So I feel really, really blessed about that. The people that like MTG and D&D, if they find their way to this stuff, it's generally cool stuff for them. So we're going to be playing with Point Warlocks today. When I made this book, 2014 was... My internet is slow and laggy today, apparently. I'm going to check in on myself. Okay, while this thing is loading, let me just go ahead and wrap up here and say that if you think this stuff is cool, I stream 9 times per week. In the mornings, I do artwork. In the afternoons and evenings, I do game design. You can like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications. We're going to be working in the playtest document today. It's a Google Doc. It's available online. For you guys, it's going to be read-only access. It's just an alpha draft. It's not even edited yet. This isn't what's going to actually appear on DMsGuild. But when it does appear on DMsGuild, like everything else that I do, it'll be 100% free preview. So dive in, get involved, play it through. I run campaigns from level 1 to 20 in about 270 hours. From level 1 to 20, I've ran 4 campaigns. 3 of them have utilized color mana. And over the course of those hundreds of hours of gameplay, we've found these little nuances and subtle means of being able to improve the system. And now that 5e24 has come out, I have to revamp all the stuff anyway because there's new mechanics in 5e24. So while we're at it, we may as well just dive in and rebuild everything. So a lot of the stream that I've been doing over the past 2 years has been building the martial power system, which gives a mana resource, the same as these spell points for spellcasting, for martial characters, barbarians, fighters, monks, rogues, and to be able to wield magic just like all the spellcasters can, so that when all these things get published, at some point, probably next year, we'll have them all done. We'll have all 13 classes all using the same mana resource, whether you're using color or the 8 schools or another magical paradigm. All 13 classes will be using the same spell point system, and then you can blend it between am I channeling powers or am I casting spells? Am I gishing across both types of magic and using both of them in my character? There's a lot of really cool combinations that we can make, and we're playtesting that. We've been playtesting that for the past year on my Discord channel, which is linked down below as well. So we finished the Bard yesterday, so all the full casters are completely done. The core class chassis has been converted. The subclasses that are in the 5e24 book have been converted, and we have theoretical drafts for converting the 2014 subclasses using the color magic paradigm into the 24 mechanics. So wizard, sorcerer, druid, cleric, bard are all completely done. And now we're winding our way back through, and we're working on warlocks today. So you can join me in the Book of Mana. It's a 209-page document right now. And we're going to drop down to where are we getting to? We have the Artificer here that's mostly built, but we still need to do work on it. Here we are, Warlock. This is on page 97. So if you want to tag along, again, the document's right here on page 97. We'll be using, I'm going to first go through and make sure that the 2024 Warlock stuff is resolved. And then we're going to go back through and we're going to chew on all the 2014 Warlock subclasses that did not make the cut for 2024. And when we finish that, then we're just going to continue to wind our way back up through the book and make sure that all the classes are completely covered. All the 5e24 and 14 subclasses are converted for all 13 classes, mostly for educational purposes. Like, we're not going to publish Arcane Archer for the fighter martial power system yet. We're going to go with just in the initial core books. We're just going to go with the 4 subclasses that are in the 24, and then we'll be publishing the 2014 rules as they start getting, like, as Wizards decides to keep pushing out more subclasses. We'll take those subclasses and we'll translate them into the color mana system so that we can keep up with them and always have something new to put out there. And if we get too niche, if we get too far into the weeds, then we'll be publishing that stuff on my Patreon. Like, for example, there wouldn't be much sense of me publishing a standalone document for, like, say, a Boros Swiftblade character as a subclass. Swiftblades are fucking cool, and I love me some Boros. But to put it on the DMsGuild as a product for sale, it's not going to have much traction. So in something like super ultra niche like that, it's better that I put it on my Patreon, because the core mechanics of how these things work are already available for you guys to view for free on DMsGuild, or to purchase if you want to support that behavior. God bless you. But once you have those core mechanics in your hands, then we can go to my Patreon and start looking at like super ultra specific cases. Like what if I wanted to make a subclass and a bunch of magic items out of an Azet Flame Spitter? That's an incredibly specific product. So I would either have to make a book of Azet and put a whole bunch of Azet stuff in it and put it on the DMsGuild, and then only be interesting and purchased by people that care about Azet in a color magic paradigm using spell points. Or we can admit that that is a subgenre of a subgenre of a subgenre of a role-playing game that only some people play. That's too many degrees of specificity. We're talking like 0.01% of the audience would be potentially interested in purchasing that. So instead of investing my time and making that into a PDF that I would then publish on DMsGuild is basically just dead weight. It'd be better for me to have a poll on my Patreon and say, hey, what do you guys want me to build this month? Let's throw up 4 or 5 ideas and start rotating through things and just start building things every week or so. So that's ultimately where I want to get to. Get these books published so that the ideas are out there and that they make sense and that people can use them. And then retreat back to the Patreon and then start pumping content out on that. And then start promoting that stuff through Reddit and stuff like that to see if we can build some momentum. So that's my big retirement game plan. And I've got 20 some odd years to try to execute it. So that's where we're trying to go with this. And if I do a good job and build something that's worth people's attention and they appreciate it, then after they have a chance to look it over and decide if it's worth their time or not, then I will ultimately see people come back and reward me with a couple bucks so I can fuel my retirement. Cheers. I have a day job. I work 40 hours a week, and then I put in like maybe about 45 hours into this off of my day job time. So it's a significant side hustle. I've been a freelance illustrator since 1999, and I've been building content like this on the DMsGuild since 2018. So it's slow. I am not a bright flash of light in the sky. I am slowly creeping up and building momentum, which is how I want to be. I've been able to build this whole platform and these ideas built around what feels right to me, and not having to worry about the influence of, am I getting more or less popular? Because I'm never popular. It's such a niche audience that all I can really do is just be true to myself and continue to execute the plan the best way that my heart feels it should be expressed. And in the end, it'll all land. So since we're working on Warlocks specifically, though, Point Warlocks is also a pay what you want. So you can grab the whole thing for free. God bless you all. Over 500 people have purchased this since I created it. That's amazing to me that it resonates with that many people. God bless you. And it has 4 ratings at, 4.5? That's pretty damn good. I'm really proud of that. So the entire document is here. And it started off in 2014 mechanics. So there is the initial DMG 2014 spell point conversion system, which I think is garbage, but it's what most people were familiar with when it came to spell points. They completely scrapped this for 5e24. So when I rebuild this particular piece, I can drop this from the menu and just focus on the color mana system. So using the universal spell points I developed, and then the USP you can attach a magic paradigm to it. 8 schools of magic is the default paradigm for D&D, but again, we're using the 5 color magic system, and that can just replace it. So using the USP system, the universal spell points, each spell level is 1 point. You can upcast to 10th level at 19th level. In addition, Wish is a 10th level spell, which is capable of casting any lower spell as a magic action with a verbal component of just simply wishing, I wish to cast Spiritual Hammer, whatever. And then at 20th level is the Epic Wish, which we've talked about before, which is you cast Wish, and you basically spend 10 mana to open a dialogue with, in this case, your patron, and say, hey, patron, I want you to change reality to fit these parameters. And then your patron will say that's going to cost you X mana. And that mana cost is permanent. So you're going to permanently lose X amount of mana to change the universe in some way. Otherworldly patrons can do this from the far realms, but it requires an investment of magical energy to permanently change reality. So you have to permanently sacrifice your mana, which is why it comes in at 20th level. It's meant to be a campaign cap. Like, we've done all the things in our campaign. It's time for us to retire a character in a epilogue. How do you want your characters to change your world? And since you're retiring your characters anyway, you can throw away all of your mana. And like, I'm going to cash in all my mana to do this thing. And it's like, cool, we're going to update the world to do that. And then our next campaign, when we start over, we can see what's the fallout and ramifications of those changes that you're making to the world. So when you make these changes to your world, be aware your next characters are going to be subjected to these changes. So what are things you actually want to do that will change relations, topography, locations, access to things? This will change the world for the characters. And I've been rolling from campaign to campaign, going with these changes, and it's been a very progressively generated campaign world dictated by the decisions of the characters in the last campaign. It's a super fun way to play. But you have to have a very long-term game plan. Like, I've been playing D&D. I've been running games in D&D since 1987. So I have ran through tons and tons of campaigns and characters and story arcs and short-winded campaigns. And in 5th edition, I started getting into a cycle of running 1 to 20 levels every about 270 hours, which is like a 3.5 hours over the course of like 15 months of playing 3.5 hours per week with some vacation time. So it's really fun. So this is where my perspective is coming from when I'm building these things. Also knowing that about 25% of the time I'm operating at the 17th to 20th level. So I actually see these things get executed fairly regularly. So I've got a pretty good feeling of, is this going to break the game or is this okay to run with? So if you have a stable team to work with, you have the opportunity to dive into that as well. Hey, what's going on, Felix? Warlock with Wish is the best Warlock. Hell yeah. My friend and I always create a new world for every new campaign, but the Epic Wish would be nice for an epilogue. Yeah. I completely rebuilt. Okay, so having said that, my caveat is that Eberron tends to be my default world, but I also fold Spelljammer and Planescape into it. It's just that if we're going to be on the prime material, it's probably going to be Eberron. And it's such a broad scope that even though you may have changed something in this world, if the way that you want, we will like rebuild the world to fit whatever campaign theme that they want. But in that sense, it's like if they want to do like an Aether Drift sort of campaign, I would probably put that in the Outer Plane somewhere, like in Isgard maybe. And so that campaign's taking place in Isgard, and that whole cycle will happen through 20 levels. And then eventually, if they're like, yeah, now we want to do like a country western, sort of like a Gold Rush campaign. Oh, cool. Let's go back to Eberron and playing the new what is it, Realmstone or whatever it is, idea that Keith Baker published. We could come back to Eberron, and now we've had 2 campaigns. Your last campaign and the Isgard Aether Drift campaign, and now we're finally getting back to Eberron. It's been 2 full campaigns. Now we get to come back and see how Eberron is actually evolving with the changes that your characters made. So I can bounce to your point, I asked the characters, what do you want to play? What kind of characters do you want to play in that game? What kind of themes and ideas do you want to play around with inside of that space? Then I'll find somewhere in the multiverse that would support that idea with those type of characters with that kind of a vibe, and then I just drop them in and start off with a town, and then it expands out from there. If they end up hopping campaign worlds or get Spelljammer ships and move around, whatever it is that they're doing, it's allowed to just organically spread from there as it does. But yeah, so I agree with you. Just starting from scratch and just no assumptions about what's going on, but having this deep backlog of these are things that the players have fucked around in the world with and done before, allows me to pull these different pieces and latch them into the campaign world. And it's like, oh, I see we're dealing with psychic gods right now. We fucked around with psychic gods 2 campaigns ago. Let's lean into this because I want to. The players like, I want to see where this has gone. Let's mess around with it some more. It's like we've had enough of psychic gods for a while. Let's stay away from the dreamscape and focus on our rocket cycles for a while. So let's like really lean into Eighth Drift, and so like that's what we would do. So it has that variable. But yeah, just to your point, I see eye to eye with you, Felix. You're constantly on page with me, my man, and that's something I appreciate about you. So there's 2 types of mana on a Warlock. There's Pact Magic and there's Mystic Arcanum. Pact Magic, you get back on a short rest, and you can cast spells up to 5th level with Pact Mana. By 20th level, you have 20 mana. 5th level spell costs 5 points. So I think in the actual scaffold of the Warlock in the player's handbook, I think you get 4 spell slots by 17th level? Spell slots. How about that? Yeah, 17th level, you get your 4 spell slots. So that's 20 mana worth of spell casting that you get, but you only get 4 of them, and they have to be cast at 5th level. So that's a real drag. With this mana system that we've developed, you don't get 4 5th level spells until 20th level, but at 17th level, I could cast a 1st level spell 17 times, or a 3rd level spell 5 times with enough juice left over for a 2nd level spell. And it all comes back on a short rest. So there's a lot of flexibility there in the spells that I learn, and I know a lot of spells, up to 15 spells at 19th level. On top of the, I don't have invocations listed here, but there are invocations. The more thorough, here we go. 16 spells at 20th level is, so we've updated it already. So we've pinched and revised this. So this all needs to be updated. But we have 16 spells by 20th level. Our maximum spell level is 10. Our Mystic Arcanum comes in at 11th level. So Pact Mana, it refreshes on a short rest. And then we have Arcanum points for our Mystic Arcana. And Arcanum points are long rest. So you get a pocket of short rest mana like a monk. And you have long rest mana, but you don't start getting long rest mana until 11th level when you start getting access to Mystic Arcanum. I start with 6 because a 6th level spell costs 6 mana. And then at 13th level, I have access to a 7th level spell and a 6th level spell. So that means I have 13 mana. So the bridge between 6 and 13, 6, 9, 13, 17, and then 8 plus 13 is 21. At 15th level, I have 8th level spells available. So now I have 21. So at 15th level, I could cast my 8th level, 7th level, and 6th level spell and burn through all 21 Arcanum points that I have, and they're gone for the day. Alternatively, if I don't care about my Mystic Arcanum spells, this long rest mana, I could also spend this long rest mana to cast my Pact Magic spells. Except, again, it doesn't come back until a long rest. So at 15th level, I've got 15 short rest mana, but I also have 21 long rest mana. So I have a total of 36 mana at 15th level. Let's take a quick gander at core mechanics and look and see how many points does a wizard have at 15th level. We've got 36 mana at 15th level. A wizard at 15th level has 56 points. So it has a lot more mana, but that's all long rest mana. So you only get it back on a long rest. We've got 15, we've got 36, but you're expected to have one short rest. So instead of 36, we've actually got 51. So 15 times 2 is 30 plus 21. That's 51 mana at 15th level. And a wizard has 56. So a wizard has just a little bit more mana than we do. It actually ends up being pretty balanced. It's pretty nice. And then, of course, we can ramp all the way up to 10th level spells costing 10 mana at 19th level. So by 20th level, we have a total of 40 Arcanum, which is 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9 plus 10 equals 40. So if I want to burn all my mana, and you can notice here at 37, I don't have enough mana to do a 10, 9, 8, 7, and 6 level spell. Even though I have access to all of them, I'm going to have to trim something. Because I'm 3 mana short of doing all of it. So I'm going to have to trim a spell. But I could potentially cast up to 5 spells of up to 10th level. But if I cast 3 spells at 10th level, I only have 7 Arcanum points left, which means I can only at best cast another 7th level spell. So like I could upcast a 6th level spell to 10th level 3 times and only have enough juice left for a 7th level spell. I could also take any of the Pacts spells of level 1 to 5 and ramp them to 6th level plus, but I have to spend Arcanum points when I spend 6 or more mana on any particular spell at a time. So it's more balanced in the spell slot system. Yeah, so there is, to be fair, there are flaws in this ideal because, like, for example, the shield spell, it always costs 1 point. It's always a +5 to your armor class. It only costs 1 point, and you can spam the fuck out of that forever. So if your team leans into the mana pool and everyone picks up shield, they're going to be spamming shield forever. It kind of comes down to, well, if everyone's just going to spam shield forever, I'm just going to naturally start pushing up the attack bonuses of monsters that you're facing, at which point it now becomes required that you use shield or you're going to get hit all the time. But honestly, when you're around 6th, 15th, 14th, 17th level, that's actually very fair. And your team knows the consequences of their actions, and the DM can fuck around with them like that. The other real outlier that you need to pay attention to is Guiding Bolt. Guiding Bolt does 4d6 damage, radiant damage, and grants advantage on the next attack roll. It's only on the cleric spell list, and the intention there is that every time you cast Guiding Bolt to kill something, you have that much less juice available to heal somebody. And the cleric is supposed to be a heal bot. So those 2 spells in particular are actually pretty damn broken in the game. From my perspective, a 4d6 blast for 1 point of mana, once you get around 7th level, doesn't really matter anymore. Your cantrips at 7th level are doing like 2d8, 2d10 damage, which is going to be up to 20 damage versus the 24 damage that you do for a point of mana. So it kind of washes out once you get into 2nd tier. It doesn't really matter. But what it does is it really spikes your survival from level 1 to 4 a lot. It really makes characters survivable. But when your goal is to run campaigns from level 1 to 20, that extra juice to make sure your characters stay alive long enough to get into 2nd tier, I find helps make sure that continuity is maintained in the campaign enough to get enough lift so that the narrative of the story keeps going. So actually having these things working in your character's favor to make the lower levels easier, as long as your mentality is, I'm going to stick through this, that's actually good. If you don't have that, if you're just doing a one-shot, maybe removing Guiding Bolt and Shield from the repertoire of characters is a fair idea. I haven't found it breaks the game yet. I've just noticed those trends, that those are very powerful spells that you need to keep an eye out for. So as long as not everyone is spamming them, but I mean, you could realistically, everyone could be picking up Shield and Guiding Bolt and just have them all available. And now everyone's just a pew-pew fighter. But that's just going to cause the rest of the world to respond in kind and also have a bunch of Shield and Radiant Bolts. And now everyone's flinging lightning at each other and throwing up shields to block off damage from each other. So after a while, it just kind of washes out. It's the culture that gets developed from it. It's just something you need to be aware of. Doesn't break the game, but it certainly scopes the narrative and the power levels that your characters are operating inside of. It's just, you got to own it. You got to own where the flaws in the system are at. Wizards allowed that stuff because once you get through your 4 first level spell slots, it starts to become really iffy. Am I going to spend a 2nd or got a 3rd level spell slot on that? And it's like, not unless I have to. That is the one advantage that spell slots have over a static mana system. I readily accept that. But it's just those 2 spells are the only ones that were really a problem at all. You could even, if you wanted to, you could replace it by reducing Guiding Bolt to be only 2d6 damage and reduce the shield spell to give you a bonus to your armor class equal to your proficiency modifier. That's a good way to be able to fix those if you needed a fix. I'm not convinced you do. But if you felt that you needed to, those two spells, those are two very easy solutions that resolve the entire system. So just it's a reality. You have to own the flaws. And of all the things that are shitty about about spell slots that you can point about how broken those are, or like how antithetical they are to cool game narrative, these are the two flaws that the spell point system has. But that's literally it. So catching up, level 6. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not broken over time. It's just that first 5 or 6 levels that it's like that's really strong. But arguably having strong characters in the first 5 levels gives you incentive to stay on put because you're going to get the 7th level and beyond. And if you roll through a 20 level campaign like I do, those first 5 levels they fly by. They are gone before you even know it. Yeah, so it's not really a problem. I'm just owning it because if you only run campaigns from level 1 to 5 and your campaign crashes, this system can it's going to be stronger. But in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th tier, it really isn't. It just allows the DM to throw more stuff at you and give you more flexibility. So it's hardly a game breaking flaw. But you got to own your weaknesses. Everything has a weakness. Those are the significant weaknesses that I'm aware of. So, hey, what's up? Silvery Barbs. Yeah, I do not allow Silvery Barbs. I am not a Silvery Barbs fan. It's a bad spell. It's just a bad spell. If it were a 3rd level spell, I'd be okay with it. But they made it a 1st level spell. So, because it's a reaction, I think even 2nd level is too strong. 3rd level as a reaction is basically as strong as counterspell. So take that with a grain of salt. Anyway, that's enough. Yeah, I know, right? In our Curse of Strahd campaign, our Bard of Whispers has Silvery Barbs. It's thematically really on point with a Whispers Bard. Honestly, it feels really. It's natural. But once you have Silvery Barbs in your vein, you always want Silvery Barbs on your character. So like right from the get-go, session 0, no Silvery Barbs. Otherwise, it just takes over the game. It's just the optimal response in almost any situation. You fucked up your attack, Silvery Barbs. Let's replace that. The big bad's hitting you with something you don't like, Silvery Barbs. It's just too easy. And with a mana pool, okay. Wizard has access to Silvery Barbs, and at 18th level, it can become a signature spell, where you can basically cast it for free forever. It becomes a cantrip to you. Silvery Barbs can become a cantrip to an 18th level wizard. At that point, there's no difference between spell casting with mana or spell slots. Most people don't get to 18th level, so they don't see the problem with it. I get there regularly. I see the problem, which is why I just say no Silvery Barbs at all. If your table is incapable of reaching 4th tier gameplay, you'll never see it. And it's just going to dominate your lower level game, but it's going to eat up all of your resources while you do it. Once a wizard has access to it for free, fuck off. It's all they're ever going to do again. It's Silvery Barbs and Shield. Like the only two things they're ever going to fucking ever cast with their reactions again, because it's basically free at that point for them to do it. It's incredibly broken. And it's just obvious that Wizards didn't think through what Silvery Barbs really is, because their game system as written in the player's handbook gives Wizards infinite Silvery Barbs, and that should feel like a problem, because it is. Anyway, that's enough. That's enough of me ranting. back to the sorcerer. Back to the warlock. You can use your. Sorry, let's go here. You can use your Arcanum points to cast Pact magic, but Pact mana cannot be used to cast Mystic Arcanum. So you have that divide. The way that you express that in color mana is you've got one color is devoted to Pact mana, and let me say it a different way. You generally have one color for your Pact magic, and you have one color for your Mystic Arcanum. So, like, if I were to pick up a 6th level spell with the Warlock, if I'm a red-green Rakdos Warlock, I would say red is my Pact Magic and black is my Arcanum. So when I get a 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th level spell, it's going to be cast, what did I say, Black Magic? There you go, with Black Magic. The Pact mana is always devoted to my Pact Magic color. So if it's red for Pact and black for Arcanum, when I get a Pact mana point for the Rakdos character, that's always going to be red mana. So I'm always going to be casting spells as red here. But Arcanum points are both red and black. You see the difference there? The Arcanum points, because they're both red and black, they can be spent on Pact Magic and they can be spent on Arcanum. But because Pact mana is only red, and Arcanum points are only, and Arcanum spells are only black, you can never use Pact mana to cast an Arcanum spell because the colors don't mix. So that's how you can break that. That's the color mechanics that create this separation between those two powers. So you can't abuse them. You can always spend Arcanum points on any of the spells, and then if like you're a multi-class like a cleric warlock, then your cleric. Your Pact mana is coming through as red, so your cleric is probably going to want to have a lot of red spells available to him because you're going to get this back on a short rest. It's really useful. And whatever long rest mana you're going to get as a cleric, you can make a different color. If you're playing a Rakdos character, presumably it would be black. So that once you start adding your Arcanum points in, which are also black, that's also long rest mana like your cleric's mana pool is. Then you're just adding black mana pool to black mana pool, and you can always just dip into this Pact mana. But the cleric's pool could be red and black, both, or blue and white as well if you want, depending on what kind of a campaign you're running. So using those color mechanics creates natural barriers between what kind of spells can you use in different classes. So like your cleric spells could be white and blue, while your warlock is using red and black. You have a very schizophrenic character that now requires 4 colors of mana in their mana pool. That's a very Dominarius sort of thing to do, but it also dilutes your mana pool, so you can't just do whatever you want whenever you want. When I run out of that white mana, I can't cast Guiding Bolt anymore unless I learn Guiding Bolt as a black, red, or blue spell, so I can use my other colors in that pool. So it just depends on how far off the deep end you want to go with your mechanical the hard edge of the mechanics of dividing colors between spells and your resources. Or you can leave it just super liquid. I just have all this mana, and when I cast a spell, I just say it's white. And so I can throw my Guiding Bolt spell out there. It's like I spend 1 point of mana, I say it's white. That's a soft liquid system that doesn't make me pay for mana of like white spells with white mana. It just becomes a general pool. So it just depends on what kind of a campaign you want, and you should set those rules up during session 0. So that's how the mechanics work. So now that we have a basic idea of how these mechanics work, we can go into the. We already have all the class features figured out here. The Pact Magic talks about the common magic spells up to level 5 and the color of your mana. Eldritch Invocations, you still get invocations like usual, and if you get like free castings of a spell, there you go. You have a free casting of the spell. You don't have to worry about what color mana it is because you could cast it for free, for instance. So it's not an issue. We get our feat at level 4, etc. Contact Patron, you can cast Contact Other Plane. Contact Other Plane is always prepared, and you can cast it without expending mana to contact your patron. And if you do cast it this way, you automatically succeed the spell saving throw. And once you cast this feature, you can't do so this way again until you finish the long rest, but you still have the spell. It's a 5th level spell at 9th level. You can still cast it. It's just going to cost you 5 mana to cast it again, and there'll be a chance of failure if you do. And then nothing new or interesting until we get our Mystic Arcanum, which we just spent a little bit of time walking through and talking about, with the Arcanum points that go along with it. You regain all Arcanum on a long rest, and you have casting Pact spells. You can expend casting Pact spells with Arcanum points. We'll just do that for now. And then we have our Epic Boon at 19th level. And then Beseech Patron. I should update the title here. That's what we're calling the Epic Wish. To cast your Epic Wish, you have to beseech your patron. So you got Contact Patron at level 9. And now we have Beseech Patron at level 20. 9th level, we can ask them questions, and they'll give us answers. And now at 20th level, we can make demands. And they'll exact a price from you for doing so. And then we have Eldritch Master, which is, we have Magical Cunning. And Magical Cunning comes in at level 1 for this system. As a 1-minute ritual, you can regain a total number of Pact mana equal to the max level spell you can cast as a Warlock. Once you use this feature, you cannot do so until you finish a long rest. And then, so at 19th level, right, at 19th level, the maximum level spell we can cast, max level, is 10. So with the Magical Cunning feature as a 1-minute ritual once per day, at 19th level, we can get 10 mana back. At 20th level, you can make when you have Eldritch Master, when you use Magical Cunning, you gain all your mana back. So at 19th level, you get 10 mana. At 20th level, you get 20 mana back. And that's as a 1-minute ritual. So at 20th level, you've got your 40 points of Arcanum points. You've got 20 points on a short rest. You've got 20 points on your Magical Cunning, which you can do for 1 minute. So that's going to basically put you at 40 pack mana per day. And then if you actually take a short rest, that'll put you at 100 mana over the course of a day. 60 of which is going to be pack mana, which allows you just to spam spells. Just spam out spells like crazy. So that's a big change in mentality from what the Warlock was, in that I only have a few spell slots. I better do something useful with them. In this format, it's, I don't care. Just give me the shittiest spell that you've got. I can, like Hex. I can spam Hex 60 times per day if I want to. And it's like, it's the only issue is like, what am I maintaining concentration on? And we have the stacking concentration mechanic in the color mana system. So if I'm a 19th level caster, I can have up to 10 levels of concentration on me at one time, but it ramps up my concentration DC to be a DC of 20 on again, when you have stacking concentration, your concentration save, your concentration check increases. It's 10 plus the amount of mana that you have, that you're concentrating on. So if I'm concentrating on a 5th level spell, 5 plus 10, I now have to hit on every saving throw that I roll, whether I pass the saving throw. Let's say an ogre tries to trip me, so I now have to make a strength saving throw or get toppled, like with Topple Mastery, right? I'm going to make a strength saving throw or be prone. My Warlock has a -1 to strength, and I don't have strength as a saving throw, so I'm actually -1 on my saving throw, on my strength saving throws. I just got tripped because I got caught out of position in combat. And that DC is 16. I'm concentrating on a 15th level spell, or on a 5th level spell. So the DC for me to pass the trip, well, let's make it easier. Let's say it's a goblin that's trying to trip me instead. So the DC, my strength saving throw is a DC 13, but I'm concentrating on a 5th level spell. So when I make my strength saving throw with my -1 cumulative bonus to that saving throw, I have, let's say I roll let's say my result is a 14, right? I rolled a 15, I'm -1, so the result of my strength saving throw is 14. The trip DC was only 13, so I'm not tripped, but because I was maintaining concentration on a 5th level spell, I had to get at least a 15 on that saving throw, but because I failed, it took too much concentration for me to stay on my feet, and I lost focus on my spell. I now lose that spell, even though I didn't get tripped. And if I take damage, it's like usual. If I take 60 points of damage, the DC is going to cap at a DC 30. Otherwise, it's half your damage. So like if I take 7 points of damage, it's only a DC of 3. Forget about it. But I'm maintaining concentration on that 5th level spell. So my Constitution saving throw has to be at least a 15. If I start getting up, I can stack spells. So I could stack Spirit Guardians at 3rd level and say Elemental, Elemental Flames or whatever that spell's called, is like a 4th level spell, I can have both of those on me at the same time as a 13th level caster, because 3rd level plus 4th level equals 7. I now have 7 levels worth of concentration active on my character. So every time I make a saving throw, if I don't hit at least a 17 on that saving throw, I'm going to lose both of those spells. So what I love about 5e24 are these combat masteries, because a lot of them require you to make bullshit saving throws for minimal combat effect, but it's a massive threat to casters. So your casters have to stay out of the line of fire. If they get caught out of position, they might have to make 4 saving throws this round just to keep from getting knocked down. But the risk isn't getting knocked down. The risk is I spent 3 rounds ramping up all these buff spells, and now my whole team is stunned because my haste went down. So it becomes a massive tactical issue. And I love that. That is the absolute best part of 5e24 for me in this design system, is how fragile casters become if they dare to concentrate on a shitload of stuff. It's like incredible power, incredibly fragile. It's super fun. So when you're building encounters, you're going to generally want to have 2 types of saving throws, a mental stat and a physical stat, and you're going to want to mix it up. Like this encounter will be like kobolds with sticks, so they're tripping you, so those are strength or dexterity saves. And at the same time, their shaman is hitting you with Ray of Frost. It's a dexterity. Toll the Dead. Let's use Toll the Dead instead, because I think that's a wisdom saving throw. So you've got strength, dexterity, and wisdom saving throws that your characters are making, and you can, as the kobolds can get onto the cleric. The cleric's now making dex and strength saves, and is also being hit by the shaman with Toll the Dead. You're now making 3 types of saving throws per round potentially. And depending on how much magic you're ramping into on concentration, you're potentially just throwing mana out the window because you're never going to be able to sustain that shit. So if you want to rely on concentration spells, you need to make sure that you're keeping your casters out of the line of fire so that they can sustain these effects. Otherwise, they're just going to get taken down, and their action economy is going to get eaten up with just ramping these spells up again and expect to have them knocked off again. So you can't sustain them for long periods of time without being at risk. Really fun system that keeps spellcasters naturally in check. Not because the game requires them to stay in check by limiting how many spells you can cast, but by the culture that the DM puts at risk in creating these complicated combat scenarios where the players actually have to think about, what am I going to do to keep myself from not just completely burning out my resources because I'm stupid? Falls back on the players using good tactics. So this whole system is a little bit more advanced than just the basic out-of-the-box 5e game system, because it's adding additional tactical layers of complexity that leans more, in my opinion, leans further more towards like what 3e used to be, while taking design aesthetics from 4e. So I think it's a lot of fun, and it's definitely worth, if people somehow are bored with 5e, this whole system is a really fun way to reinterpret how the 5e game engine actually just runs. And the color mana system in place, it adds just a huge depth of just literal visual narrative that goes into the game, using these different colors to express how magic is interacting in this world filled with magic. So, like, you can see like streaks of blue, like neon blue laced with purple and red in the skies. Like, that is an unnatural storm that's coming our way. It probably has magic in it. You can literally see the arcs of lightning, like red lightning in there, sparking with red magic. It's like, God, it's going to do lightning damage, but what else is it going to do to us? What kind of saving throws am I going to have to make inside of that storm if it hits us? And what kind of monsters are going to be inside of it that we're going to have to deal with, that are going to be able to exploit the fact that we're at disadvantage on this? So it's a lot of narrative fun, a lot of fun. So that's been, oh my God, that's been quite the diatribe on how all this stuff works. And it's 3:10. I've got about an hour and a half. So let's finally just get to work. So we've walked our way through. what these different features for the Warlock are. And we've already done work on the subclasses before. So let's take another few moments here and look at the invocations that we have. I think we have all the invocations from the player's handbook that are in here. But just to verify, I just want to make sure that we're thorough because a lot of these had to be changed. So let's see. Choose one of your Warlock cantrips that deal damage. You can add your Charisma modifier to the spell's damage roll. I don't actually have this listed in here, so let's take a moment. Yeah, we're just gonna be thorough. We're doing everything. Before I was just doing the minimum needed, but we've had so many people play testing. I need to have all these rules in here so they don't bounce between the player's handbook and the playtest document, because the playtest document was only initially showing what are we changing, but I don't want there to be any misunderstandings. I want literally everything that you need to know how to use this mana system to be inside these books. So I'm going to expand on this stuff. Agonizing Blast. So we're just going to go through the paces. Agonizing Blast. And we're just going to build all this stuff out until it's done. Because this is what we do. This is what you need to do when you're building new mechanical systems. Choose one of your known Warlock spell cantrips that deals damage. You can add your casting ability modifier. The way that just to clarify what I'm doing here, we made the bold decision. Spellcasting. Where'd you go, buddy? Oh, here we go. Spellcasting ability. You can choose Intelligence or Charisma as your spellcasting ability for your Warlock spells. DC equals 8 plus your stat plus your proficiency bonus. I love multi-classing. I love leaning into multi-classing. The entire martial power system is designed with the idea that you will multi-class to exploit game mechanics that each class carries to build the kind of action sequences and abilities you specifically want. Because I am a 3E junkie. It's just 3E's mechanically complicated and a little clunky. Separate. Uh-oh. Am I still live? Uh-oh. I hope I'm still live. Oh, good. Let's, I hope I'm live. Hoping. Fuck. Please tell me I'm still live. Please tell me I'm still live. Oh, I'm still live. Am I still live? I'm still live. I'm alive. I'm live? Mechanics that each class carries. Am I live? I'm live? Please tell me I'm still live. Okay, good. I lost connection there for a second, so I wasn't sure. Oy vey. Sometimes in the afternoon like this, I'll lose stream. Seattle Techno Hub doesn't really matter. I'm gonna blame some spots, but thanks for being here, my man. Let's do that. There. Okay, good. We're good to go. Beaky. There we go. Agonizing Blast. And damn it, I gotta go. It was page 97. Let's go back down to page. Oh God, that's loud. Hold on. I'm gonna fix my face. There we go. Yeah. We'll get into those. Agonizing Blast. Yeah. So I want to lean into multi-classing. 3E game, the chunk, the crunchiness, the grit of 3E, a lot of that came through how freely you are supposed to multi-class. Like the prestige classes is multi-classing out of a core class into a base class, out of a base class into a prestige class. It is literally the act of prestige or of multi-classing. And it's rampant in 3E. And that's what it was built on. That's the deck building aspect of the of Wizards of the Coast taking over D&D. They took it over, and the first game engine they built was a deck building game. You have basically got 20 cards in your deck, and each card can be any class that you want, and when you combine them all together, this is what your character can do. It's genius. It's genius, and they ran away from it. It was too mechanically, it was too complicated for them to be able to sustain. And it took the same amount of intensity and design and cross-referencing that the MTG card game takes, but it only made a fraction of the money. It was not productive for them to do that. So in 4E and 5E, they stripped out that complexity to simplify the game engine, not to make it easier for people to play, but to make it easier for them to design and sell it. They're trying to make a flaw into a feature for you, saying it's going to be easier for new people to start playing the game. It was never difficult for people to start playing D&D. It was never difficult. What was difficult was for them to be able to get enough crew around to be able to build games that didn't break themselves because they weren't paying attention to their own rules. Just like with Silvery Barbs and 18th level wizards, if all they had done was think, I wonder if someone's eventually going to play an 18th level wizard in our game. And if the answer is fuck yes, then the answer is Silvery Barbs fuck no. But they never went through that mental process. I am very much punching up at Wizards right now because I don't think they have mechanical chops to be able to dig through this stuff. The only reason I do is because to me it's a hobby of passion. When I show up, I'm not collecting a paycheck and trying to rush something out the door. When I show up, I'm trying to build the most solid system I can that leans into a style of gameplay. And I don't care how many years it takes for me to build it. When it's done, it's going to be good. Big difference in philosophy there. If Wizards had that same approach, they would crush me every time. I would be playing their mana game. But this is so far into the niche audience with such a demand of mechanical precision and depth of thought. There's no way doing this could be profitable for them. They'll never do this. It's not productive for them as a profit-seeking company. But me as a couture designer, this is exactly the type of stuff that us little third-party people should be doing. We're diving into the stuff that's just not viable for the anchor of the entire 5e game system. This is not the type of stuff that they should be thinking about. Even though they control both of these IPs, I in no way begrudge them that they haven't. It's insane levels of detail work, cross-referencing, and trying to resolve any kind of like future-proofing of problems. It takes a lot of time and energy to make any of these things work properly. So I punch up saying that they have the resources to do it, just not if they want to turn a profit. So I can shit at them about it, but at the same time, I totally understand why they don't. And I don't blame them at all for not doing it. At the same time, I celebrate that because it gives me a place to live. This becomes my space. I love operating inside this space. So all those pontifications aside, let's keep working. Variant invocations. I need to create another space there to separate these. So we have Agonizing Blast. It's now, again, intelligence or charisma. That encourages characters like in the martial power system, the fighters channel using either strength, dexterity, or intelligence because of the Eldritch Knight. So they could choose either strength, intelligence, or intelligence, and they can change them anytime that they want. So if I were to play a fighter warlock with this system, I would make my channeling stat and my casting stat both intelligence, so I only have to worry about that single stat, and then whatever my secondary, like strength, for instance, I'd make strength probably my other good stat for like melee weapons. Or if I'm ranged, dexterity for my ranged attacks. So, hey Steve, it's good to see you, my guy. A bit of a delay. Okay. Looks like everything's going good there. Cool. Yeah, I think the OBS dropped in a delay, but there's nothing I can really do about that, so I'm just gonna have to suck it up. A repeatable, you can get some notation, choose a different one each time. Now we're going to where are we at? Over here. Thank you. Armor of Shadows, you can cast Mage Armor yourself without expending a spell slot. And the way that we translate that is Armor of Shadow. You can cast Mage Armor as a cantrip without material components. So as a cantrip, it means it's a 0 level spell. It doesn't cost any mana to do it. It's just a different way of wording it. But there you go. Ascended Step. You can cast Levitate on yourself without expending a spell slot. You can cast Levitate on yourself as a cantrip without material components. Eldritch Smite. We'll get to Eldritch Smite. I think I'm going to change it. Let's keep working the problem and just add everything in that's supposed to be added, because before I skip the things that I didn't want to change, but we're finding instances where we need to do that. So let's grab this, which is going to be Devil's Sight. And sure, let's look at Devouring Blade. Devouring Blade. This may or may not continue to exist. I need to build the Warlock independent of the martial power system. Right now, what we're doing is we're building the Warlock for spellcasting. Even though we have martial power options for the Warlock, I need to build the Warlock so it's just a spellcaster to be compliant with the core mechanics of the color mana system. The martial powers book is a separate add-on from the color mana core mechanics, so it's layered. And sorry for the complexity, but that's how it do. So there's that. We want to add in Eldritch Mind. And then there's Eldritch Spear, Eldritch Smite, Eldritch Spear. Eldritch Spear. I'm just making sure we have all of them first. Fiendish Vigor. Gaze of Two Minds. Gift of the Depths. Very good. This will be, what is this? Gift of the Protectors. We initially took Life Drinker away because the Life Stealing Strike basically replaces what Life Drinker does. But again, I need to rebuild this so that it's not taking martial powers into account. So we're going to do that. Investment of the Chainmaster. Is that? Yeah. Oy vey. Lessons of the first ones. Mask of Many Faces. Master of Myriad Forms. Misty Visions, one with Shadow, Otherworldly Leap. We'll fix this, Pact of the Blade. Initially, we skipped the ones that we didn't really have any changes, but I'm finding it valuable to add all of it anyway. Even if we end up trimming some of it out later on. Pact of the Tome. Repelling Blast. Thirsting Blade. Gotta get it all. Visions of the Distant Realms. Witch Sight. And that's all of them. Cool. Oh, there's what's, yeah. There. Witch Ride. Yeah, like I don't have any reason to change that. So technically I don't have any reason to add it. But again, I just want to make it so that you don't have to refer to more than one document at a time when you're building your character. It's polite. So with the Grave, you can cast Speak with Dead without expanding a spell slot. You can cast Speak with Dead as a cantrip without material components. Here you go. You can cast Arcane Eye without expanding a spell slot. You can cast Arcane Eye as a cantrip without material components. Thirsty Blade. Prek. Prek. Gain the extra attack feature for your packed weapon only. With that feature, you can attack twice with the weapon instead of once when you take the attack action on your turn. Pelling Blast. Prek. Choose one of your known Warlock cantrips that requires an attack roll. When you hit a large or smaller creature with that cantrip, you can push the creature up to 10 feet straight away from you. Repeatable. You can gain this invocation more than once. Each time you do, choose a different. Once, comma. Choosing a different eligible cantrip when you do. That's technically different enough in text that I could publish that. Prek, level 2, Warlock that deals. What's up with all the fucking caps? I think I'm gonna go with the general recommendation of getting rid of caps. There's so much caps and it's so inconsistent in 5e24. I like their attempt to create tags, but they didn't execute it properly to the point where it's just kind of word salad to have them. So I'm going to probably be dropping caps in general. We'll see how that shakes out. I'm overheating. Hold on. I'm going to open a window real quick and grab some more water, and then we're just going to keep at this. I mean, I know it's my fault that I overheat because I'm totally wearing a robe over a shirt. So it's really my fault that I get too hot. But I like wearing my robe. It's my robe of intelligence design. It allows me to design with advantage when I make a check. Let's go on to Pact of the Tome. Just gonna grab all that shit. Nope, not like that. Let's see. I don't need all the flavor text. You gain a book of shadow that you can summon, no action required, at the end of a short or long rest. The Book of Shadows. Of course, you can determine what it looks like. Contains Eldritch magic that only you can access, granting you the benefits below. Grants you the following benefits while it is in your possession. The book disappears if you conjure another book with this feature or if you die. Only you can use the book and it disappears. There, that's rewording stuff. Cantrips and rituals. When a book appears. Oh man, okay, thanks Felix. I'll be back on Monday. So I'll see you when I get to, my guy. Thanks for hanging out with me. Appreciate it. Really, really appreciate you. When the book appears, choose 3 cantrips and choose 2 level 1 spells that have the ritual tag. The spells can be from any classes. Can be from any class's spell list, and they must be spells you don't already have prepared. While the book is on your person, you have the chosen spells prepared. While it's in your possession. From any class's spell list. I don't care if you pick up the same spells again. It'd be a waste to not have them, but I'm making a hard rule that, like, if I already know Eldritch Blast, then I could have Eldritch Blast again through this if I wanted to. There's no reason why I couldn't. It's in the book. It's just redundant. When the book appears, choose 3 cantrips and choose 2 level 1 spells that have the ritual tag. Spells can be from any class's spell list. While the book is on your person, you have the chosen spells prepared. These are Warlock spells for you. See, much more simple. You can use the spell as a spellcasting focus. The Book of Shadow grants you the following benefits while it's in your possession. There, I like that. Nice and clean. I can appreciate their flowery, text. I am not a big fan. I'm not a flavor text guy. I am not. I have no prose. I am not a poet. I do mechanical design. I try to eliminate all flavor from things, just giving you the hard mechanics, knowing that you can make it any flavor that you want. As long as I give you the mechanics, you can find a way to express it yourself. That's not my job. I can respect that Wizards wants to give you ideas of how these things can look, but you are not looking at this book because this is the first time you've played D&D. You're looking at this book because you're looking at what else can I do with D&D that I haven't thought of already. Here's a cool idea. Oh, that's super cool. I already know how, I've been wanting to figure out how to make my Simic character feel more Simic-y. This color mana system adds the mechanical crunch to make me really feel like I'm playing a Simic Artificer. Really feel like it. Great, you already know how to make a Simic Artificer feel like a Simic Artificer. I don't need to give you tips on how this stuff looks. And in fact, if you don't have imagination, me telling you what these things do takes away your ability to start flexing your own muscle of building imagination, because you're just going to lean on the flavor that I give you for free, which isn't necessarily the flavor that you need. And you can cast it as a magic action without expending a spell slot. And you can cast it as as a magic action, and you can cast it as a magic action without expending mana. Let's just do it that way. There are all these different ways we can express it. This is the way we're currently going to express it right now. When you cast the spell, you choose one of the normal forms in your familiar. When you cast a spell, you can, in addition to the normal forms your familiar can adopt, you can also choose Imp, Pseudo-Dragon, Quasi-Skeleton, Slod, Tadpole, Sphinx, of Wonder, Sprite, or a Venomous Snake. Period. Additionally, when you take the attack action, you can forgo one of your attacks to allow your familiar to make one attack of its own with its reaction. I like that. I like that interaction. Like, this implies that you have more than one attack, but Pact of the Blade is pretty much Thirsting Blade at 5th level is pretty much the only Warlock class that's going to give you an extra attack. So you have to have both Pact of the Blade and this is supposed to be here. Hold on. Wrong category. There. Right. Additionally, when you take the attack action, you can forgo one of your own attacks to allow your familiar to make one attack with. This is actively encouraging you to multi-class. I love that. Now we're into Pact of the Blade. Thank you. Pact of the Blade. Pact of the Blade. Let's grab this. You can conjure hand, which can be which can be a simple or martial melee weapon of your choice. You can conjure a packed weapon in your hand with which you form a bond to. With which you form a bond, period. The weapon can be a magical bond, period. The weapon can be a simple or melee weapon of your choice. Or you can create a bond with a magic item you touch. If a weapon is already bonded to someone else, you cannot bond with it. Oh, wait. Yeah. If a weapon is attuned or already bonded to someone else, you cannot bond with it. Period. While the bond lasts, you have proficiency with the weapon, and you can use it as a spellcasting focus, period. Whenever you attack with the bonded weapon, you can use your spellcasting modifier Your Warlock spellcasting ability modifier, more wordy than charisma, but more flexible as well. Because, again, intelligence. For the attack and damage rolls, instead of using strength or dexterity, and you can cause the weapon to deal necrotic, psychic, or radiant damage, or its normal damage type. You bond with the weapon ends if you use this feature bonus action again. Your bond with this weapon ends if you bond with a different weapon. If you bond with a different weapon, if the weapon is more than 5 feet away from you for 1 minute or more, or if you die. Conjure weapon disappears when the bond ends. Yeah, there we go. You can cast Jump on yourself. Without expending mana or material components. I honestly don't know if Jump has material components. I don't care. Don't care. Don't care. Without. Thank you, Timely Timer. I do have a firm deadline of 4:30 today. I have to skip out. And it is 3:45. So I've got about 40 minutes left to play today. And I'm pretty good with that. I'm going to switch this like that. Because if I cast Arcane Eye as a cantrip, it has a 0 cost, so it wouldn't add to my my concentration score, to my concentration difficulty. But Arcane Eye is a 4th level spell, 3rd level spell. I want it to add to concentration, so it was a bad idea for me to make them cantrips. This allows us to lean into the concentration mechanics that we have, which I think are important. While you're in dim light or darkness, you can cast invisibility on yourself. I think that's all one with a shadow is, right? Yeah. Alter self. Wait, Misty Vision. There we go. Good. Disguise self. Life Drinker comes back into the mix. Let's see what we're going to do with it. Once per turn, when you hit a creature with a packed weapon, you can deal an extra d6 necrotic, psychic, or radiant damage, your choice, to the creature. And you can expend one of your hit dice to roll it and regain a number of hit points equal to the roll, plus your constitution modifier, minimum of 1 hit point. I love that. I'm perfectly fine with that. Once per turn, not per round, per turn. So you can use this with a reaction as well. Yeah, I'm good with that. Lessons of the first one. Repeatable. Just condensing things. How do we do? Comma. Each time, period. When you do. Yeah, I'm good with when you do. When you do. Investments of the Chainmaster. Let's grab that. Oy vey. Oy vey. Okay, how does this do? Hey, Fox, how you doing, my guy? Oh, when you cast Find Familiar, you infuse the summon feature with the measure of your Elder's power. I don't need your flavor text. It gains the following benefits. Familiar gains either fly, speed, or swim speed, your choice at 40 feet. Quick attack. As a bonus action, you command the familiar to take the attack action. How's that different from chain? Additionally, when you take the attack action, you can forego one of your attacks to allow your familiar to make one attack of its own with its reaction. So that's the attack action. It takes one attack. And now we have... And then as a bonus action, you can also command it to take the attack action, but that doesn't require a reaction. So as an action... It can use its reaction to make an attack. And as a bonus action, I can have it make the attack action. So I can have it attack twice if I'm willing to sacrifice basically 2 points of my action economy. Excuse me. Yeah, okay. I like that. Let's just change that magical damage. When it takes damage, you can take a reaction to grant it resistance against that damage. I like that. If you're familiar, forces a creature to make a saving throw. It uses your spell save DC. Gift of the Protectors. Let's grab this and then reword it as we do. Nine plus Pact of Tome. This is your Book of Shadows. A new page appears. You can allow a creature to take an action to write its name in your Book of Shadows. A number of creatures equal to your Warlock spell casting ability modifier, minimum of 1, to take an action to write its name in your Book of Shadows. When any creature whose name is in your book is reduced to 0 hit points but not killed, the creature magically drops to 1 hit point instead. Automatically, you can erase the name on the page. You can erase the name from the book. Don't make me touch their name. I shouldn't have to touch their name. I just can hold. I'm holding my book. I just say, "Name be gone," and it be gone. Some requirements just don't seem necessary. Gift of Depth. We're going to come back and work on this on Monday as well. I have Monday off. I have a lot of days off this upcoming week. I have Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday off, and so I'm going to be doing a lot of design work in the afternoons and evenings, and I'm going to have extended art time in the mornings. This is my spring break vacation week, so I'm very much happy. You can breathe underwater. Any game with swim speed equal to your speed. You can also cast water breathing once without expending mana or using material components. Gaze of Two Minds. Meh. What time is it? 4 o'clock. Okay, I've got about 20 minutes. I'm gonna take a sip of water here while I'm thinking about it. Prac. You can use a bonus action to touch a willing creature and perceive through its senses until the end of your next turn. As long as the creature is on the same plane of existence as you, you can take a bonus action on each subsequent turns to maintain this connection, extending the duration until the end of the next turn. The connection ends if you don't maintain it this way. While perceiving through the other creature's senses, you benefit from any special senses possessed by that creature, and you can cast spells as if you were in your space or the other creature's space, if the two of you are within 60 feet of each other. Okay. That's a super cool spell effect. I have Fiendish Vigor listed already, however. When you do, instead of rolling to determine how many temporary hit points you gain, you automatically gain the maximum result. You can cast False Life. Without expending mana or using material components. There we go. And we didn't have Eldritch Spear listed before because I don't think there's any changes that are happening to Eldritch Spear. But again, for consistency and thoroughness, to reduce the amount of books, for the amount of sources you have to read to use these classes in playtesting, I'm consolidating all the information here. When we actually make the book and publish it, we'll decide what actually belongs in this content or doesn't. So repeatable, you can gain this more than once. Comma. Choosing a different eligible cantrip when you do. Period. Its range increases by number of feet equal to 30 times your Warlock level. Oh my god. Okay, so that's going to be at least 600 some odd feet. That's a lot of distance. That's so far away. Eldritch Smite. Okay, this is where we're grinding gears. I'm currently building out this content to assume martial powers doesn't exist. So we're going to make rules for how Eldritch Smite works, but then we'll also have the martial powers rules separately. So for now, we're just going to kit this out here for spellcasters specifically. There. You hit a creature with your packed weapon, you can expend mana. Since we have so much more mana than casters normally do, we have to be level 5 to be able to use this at all. Extra D8. So we're going to drop this down to being an extra D6 force damage to the target per mana expended this way, up to the maximum level spell you can cast as a warlock. I don't need to give you 2 dice of damage because you can already use 3 mana to deal 3 dice of damage already. If you were to be a 5th level warlock, you would have, what, 2 spell slots? Hold on. Yeah, we have 2 spell slots at 5th level. up to 3rd level. So this would be a total of, if I spent my spell slot, it has to be 3rd level, which means it's going to be doing 48 damage, and I can do that twice. That's a total of 8 dice worth of damage. And that is it. I am done. With this method, I would have 5d6. Let's not make it d6. Let's make it, yeah, d8's fair. It would be d8. It'd be 5d8 as opposed to 8d8. I would spin all my mana that way. Cast as a Warlock. Cast maximum level spell you can cast as a Warlock, period, comma. And you can give the target the prone condition if it's huge or smaller. Okay, let's track this out, because maybe 2d6 versus 1d8 per mana, like d6 plus 1d6 per mana might make more sense. So let's math it out. When do we gain extra spell slots? We get 2 at 5th, 3 at 11. Still 5. 5 for 2048. Oh, fuck it. Let's just do it this way. Okay, so 5th level, we have 2 spell slots at 3rd level each. 3rd level each, that's going to be times 2. It's a 4th level spell here. And we still have 2 spell slots. So 4th level, it's D8 times your spell. It's D8 plus D8 times spell slot. You have 2 of them. So D8 plus D8 spell slot is 4 plus 1 is 5. We do it twice. There, 10d8. And then here it becomes 6d8 times 2 equals 12d8. And then here it's 68 times 2 equals 18d8. And still constrained to 5th level, it's 6d8 times 4 equals, this should be times 3. That's our current scale. We go D8 per mana. That's going to be 5d8. 68. $78, 8d8, 98, 10d8, 11d8, 12d8, 13d8, 14d8. So it never catches up. 15d8, 16d8, 17d8. So what if we do it 18d8, 19d8, 20d8. Or max damage 80, 96 total damage. 80. No, that's 32. That's not right. 160, 100 and... Is that right? God, why is math failing me so bad? My brain is derp. 24 times 8 equals... Thank you. Yeah, 192. God, the derps are real. 192 damage. 18 times 8 equals 144 maximum damage. 12 times 8 equals 12 times 8 equals 96. $80, 64. So the trick is that using a mana system, I could spend 1 mana at a time, or I could spend 3 mana at a time right now. But in the end, if it's just 1 die each, it's always going to be... well, I don't remember what I was going to say. It's just going to be a linear progression. If I make it, whenever you use this, it's 1 die plus 1 die per mana spent. I could always spend just 1 mana at a time and get 2 dice of damage. It's not going to be a big Nova burst, but it's going to end up being 40 dice. So while this is coming through, like what's 40 times 8? $320. So it's significantly more than what this would come through. So I can't just do D8 plus D8 per mana. That's overclocking it. What can I do? What can I do if I divide 192 divided by 17? What do I get? 11.29. So what happens if I do D12s? 5 times 12 is 60. Compared to 64, maybe the correct answer is D12 dice. A single die is a D12 damage. That's kind of spiky. What if it was just 2d6 instead? What if it's 2d6 per mana expended? It'd still max at 12. It would still average half of that. So that's decent math. Let's see. So 20 times 6. No, it'd be 40 times 6. It's 240. 17 times 6. No. 17 times 12. Thank you. It's 204. So at this level, it'd be 204. So if I made these D12s, I'm already thinking D12s are better. Bear with me. There. That's not too far off. Woo! That isn't too far off. That isn't too far off. Ho, ho, ho! This isn't such a bad idea. 168, 180, 192, 204. Thank you. 216, 228, 240. A little weaker at the beginning, but again, you can parse it out more. This one you get 2 uses and you're done. This one I have 5 uses and I can parse it out. Or I could use 1/3 and then another second, or like 2 seconds and a first. I can divide this up more. Yeah, and this isn't even taking into account Arcanum points, which is another 40 dice. It's another 480 that we could spin on smiting if I don't want to cast any high level spells. Like if I want to ditch all my 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th spell slots, I could crack out an extra 480 damage. That's fucking insane. So what I would I could limit this then to being only pact mana. When you expend you can expend pact mana to add additional damage. This would exclude the Arcanum points from being added into this to just completely overclock what you're doing. Yeah. And D12 seems like a better idea. Like D6 plus. Hold on, that gets a lot more complicated. If I were to make it D6 plus D6 per mana expended, it would still be 60 per spell slot, but it would scale down with additional spell slots, which might make it. Ooh, that's a lot of fucking math. All right, let's do it. This is our base model here. This is why we get paid big bucks, baboyos. One D6 plus D6 per mana. Like with this static D12 model, it doesn't matter how many mana you spend at a time because it's always going to just be a static D12. So, yeah, that doesn't matter. But with this, It does matter. First level, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm running out of time. Because I really do have something I need to do at 4:30, so I've got like 20 minutes at best. So let's see if we can get this done in 20 minutes. So this is D6 plus 6. It's going to be 5. That's still going to be 60. Yeah, this column's going to be the same. Max. We're always going with max damage because averages are averages, whatever. I always want to look at the maximum amount of damage that you can deal to see if it's breaking the curve or not. Because averages are over the law of large numbers, the average is going to be the middle of whatever the result is. It's all going to end up being the same, 6. Like for D12 or 2D6, the answer is still going to be roughly 6. With this, the damage is going to be 18 per hit. So how much of this do we do? 2 mana. We're going to do and this is going to be 24. And like for this example, we only have 5 mana. If we're using second level spell slots, 2 of them are going to be second level spell slots, leaving us with 1 point left over for 1 spell slot, which is 12. So it's going to be 18 plus 18 plus 12. Thus, we get 48. 24. This is 30. And this will cap at 36. So we could do, 24 plus 18, that's 30, that's 42. There's my cap there. 6, this is going to be 18. 18 times 3 equals 54. 24 times 2 is going to be 48. Oh, look at that. That's an interesting curve. You now have access to 4th level spell slots. So that's 7. It's going to be still 54 plus 12. That's 66 here. And 20, that's going to be 48 plus 12. That's 60. There you go. And then our 4th level spell slot is going to be 30 plus 48. That's 78. So this isn't this. This is just sliding down the scale as we go. More mana spent at once is a larger pop, but it's going to be. But you have less. It tapers off. Yeah, I don't hate this so far. I'll finish the motion. 18 times 4 equals 72. 48 plus 18 is 50, 64. And 4 points, that's 2, that's 60. Ninth level, got 5th level spell slots now. 9 divided by 2, so that's 18 times 4 plus 12 equals 84. 24 times 3 is 72. 4 is twice, that's 60, that's 70. Wait. (24) times 3 equals 72. Why is my brain breaking here? Oh, that's also 72. That's why. Huh. Interesting that it curves out that way. And then we have 36 plus 30. That equals 66. Interesting patterns that are forming here. Huh. Wait, something went wrong here. Eight times 12. 18 times 4. 24 times 2 equals plus 18 equals 66. Right. Okay, pattern is reestablished. 69 points, 4 apiece. That's 60 plus 12, 72. Yeah, that's accurate. Was this accurate? 4 and 3. That's where I was wrong. Derp. Look at that pattern. 60, 54, 60, 54. Interesting. These numbers are recurring. I like this. I think this is really neat. This is probably the right way to do it. Just these patterns. I just think these patterns are cool. So like the 240 definitely outclocks what the 192 could do, but that would require you to have 20 separate attacks, and you're not going to drill out. You don't have 20 rounds of combat per short rest. Usually you're going to have around 10 to 15. So this is overclocking the amount of the amount of mana you would possibly be wanting to actually spend. But I mean, you could spam it and it's going to be low damage, but you could do that. I should probably complete the chart, but I'm pretty confident that this is going to that this is the proper way to do it. D6 plus D6 per mana, limiting yourself to only up to only using packed mana. So once per turn, when you hit a creature with a packed weapon, you can expend packed mana to deal an extra D6 plus 1d6 per mana comma, up to the maximum level spell you can cast as a warlock, up to the maximum level spell of Pact magic you can cast as a warlock, and give the target the prone condition if it is huge or smaller. There, that locked it down. We already have established that Pact magic is for spell casting up to level 5. Pact magic, you can prepare a number of spells listed above up to 5th level. So right off the cap, we've established that Pact magic is for spells up to 5th level. So when we come back down here, once per turn, when you hit a creature with your Pact weapon, you can expend Pact mana to deal an extra d6 plus 1d6 per mana expended this way, dealing force damage to the target up to the maximum spell. Up to the maximum spell level of Pact magic you can cast as a warlock. Pact magic is 5th. Maximum of 5th. And you can give the target the prone condition if it is huge or smaller. Okay, that works out. So I'll just complete the curve for just completion's sake, and then my day will be done. So 18 times 5, and we'll come back on Monday, and we'll finish this all out. 10 is going to be 24 times 3 plus 12 equals, big surprise, 84. 4th level, it's going to be 60, 72, big surprise. 5 times 2 is also 72. Isn't that interesting? That 72, that keeps slotting in like that. God, that's interesting. 11. 2nd level, that's 5. That's 18 times 5 plus 12, 102. 3rd level, 24 times 3 plus 18. 18 times 5 plus 12. Yeah, 102 is accurate. 4th, that's going to be 60, 84. Surprising patterns, not so much. 72 plus 12, that's 84. Now 84 is a recurring pattern. 72, 72, 84, 84. God, this is really neat. I'm amazed I've never explored math like this before. This is cool. 12th level, 2nd level spell, 18 times 6. What the fuck was that? That doesn't feel right. I did something wrong. 18 times 5 plus 12 equals... No, yeah, that's right. It should be ascending. Yeah, always ascending. That is correct. Cool. 12th, that's 24 times 4. That's 80, 96. 24 times 4, just to make sure. Thank you. No sense doing it wrong, right? 4 by 3, that's 90. That's fitting the pattern. That's going to be 36 times 2 plus 18 equals, big surprise, it's 90. Look at that recurring pattern. God, that's gorgeous. Oh, I forgot this one. 13. That's going to be 18 times 6 plus 12 equals 120. 14, that's going to be 18 times 7 equals 126. 126 plus 12 equals 138. New pattern emerging. 18 times 8 equals 144, which we saw up here. 144 plus 12 equals 156, which we see this pattern is just replicating itself now. That's super cool. 9 times 18 equals 162. 162 plus 12 is 174. And then 180. So this is going to be there. 24 times 4 plus 12 equals 108. What is up with this pause? I think my computer's dying. 24 times 3 plus 18. That's not right. 13. That's 24 times 3 plus 12 equals 84. No, that doesn't feel right. Hold on. 24 times 4 plus 12 equals 108. Thank you. 108. That feels right. 14. 4 of those. So it's going to be 24 times 4 equals plus 18 equals, there we go, 114. And then 15, that's 24 times 5 equals 120. Then went by 12, by 6, by 12. 6, then 12. 6, then 12. 6, then it goes up by 12, then up by 6, then up by 16. That doesn't make sense. Hold on. Let's do this one again. That's going to be 3 of those plus 18. So 24 times 3 plus 18 equals 90. Huh. Weird. Weird pattern break. That's a weird pattern break. Then 6, 12, 6, 6, 6, up 6, up 12, up 6, up 6 again. 24 times 5, 120. 14, 24 times 3 plus 18 equals 90. 15th level, 14th level, that's going to be 4. 14th level, it's going to be 4 times 24 times 4 plus 18 is 114. I'm just looking for flaws. 24 times 4 plus 12 is 1. Huh. Okay, the math is good. 16, that's going to be 24 times 5 plus 12 equals 132. Weird patterns. This is up 6. This is up 6. This is up 12. 6, 6, 12. Weird recurring patterns. 24 times 5 plus 18 is 138. There's that 6 again. 18, 24 times 6, 144. I'm seeing recurring pattern again. 19, that's going to be 6 times 24 plus 12 equals 156. And then 20 divided by 3 is going to be 24 times 6 plus 18 equals 162, which we've seen before. Okay, this is let's finish the pattern, and then we'll make our assessment. I am desperately low on time today. Desperately, yeah, it's 4:38. I gotta go. I am pushing my deadline, so we're gonna pick this up Monday afternoon, and I think Monday afternoon, Monday night for sure. We'll be here Monday night for certain. I'm not sure what Monday day is gonna look like, but Monday night for certain we're gonna be here. So I might do something else in the afternoon. Maybe I'll do just a lot of Eberron art on Monday. But yeah, we're gonna cut this here. We'll pick this up on Monday night. I'm seeing a pattern here, and I think I like it. I think I like it a lot. I'm okay with you spending like 2 or 3 mana is a little shy of where you're like 4 mana will be less. I think this is going to encourage us to have less Nova and more consistent strikes. I think I'm good with that. We might remove the... If we remove the constraint of once per turn, you can now attack twice, even potentially 3 times with the bonus action. Yeah, because this doesn't require a bonus action to use it, but it does have the limit of once per turn. But you can use it as a reaction as well as off of your turn. So that's 48 damage. Which is always going to be more. Oh, maybe we don't limit it to 5th level. Maybe we let you actually clock it all the way up to 6. All the way up to 10. That's going to be worth exploring. Okay, for sure. We're going to have to spend a little bit more time exploring this, but we might take the lid off of 5th level. We might take it all the way up to 10. That's what Paladins can do. They can clock it all the way up to 10. I am intrigued by this. This is intriguing. Get 4 of those, 5. One last thought. 36 times... Four is 144. Huh. Interesting. I like where this is going. I think this is a good idea. I think this is going to be a good idea. It encourages less expenditure on single pops, which is kind of the whole theme of you having a mana pool in general instead of spell slots, allowing you to parse out small bits at a time. But if we were to have, like at 17th level, we could have up to 7. But we only have 17 mana, so hold on. Yeah, we'll have to come back. I got to go. We can come back to this. We're going to play with this more Monday night for sure. I like where this is going, though. I think this is probably the right path. D12s definitely track with the damage scaling here nicely. And if we take the lid off of how often you can do it, it would encourage you to do 1 or 2 points of mana per hit just to throw in some extra pepper. Change the damage type. And you'll end up doing about as much damage as you would here over the course. 1 or 2 mana at a time. Yeah, I think I'm liking where this is at. All right, that's it for now, guys. I'm going to come back. We're going to play with this more Monday night. This is it for me for the weekend. I will be back Monday morning to do more Eberron art. Who knows how long I'm going to do that for. But we got Eberron art lining up, and then Monday night we're definitely going to be working on this. And then I have Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday off as well. So we're just going to be doing a shitload of stuff. So thanks a lot, everyone, hanging out. Anyone that's new, like I said, I'm here 10 times per week, so 9 times per week. So check in on this stuff, and I will see you guys on the other side. Cheers.